So what really happened? So do you know Bernie is he's not going to campaign, but he's going to still let people vote for him going forward. Now, just so you know, and again, I don't think I'm going to yell today, and I don't want to make anybody who is a Bernie Sanders fan feel bad today. That's not the intention of this show. But again, the intention of this show is always to tell you exactly what's happening, why it's happening, and what other people won't tell you. Right? And so I'm going to still do that today. So I'm going to tell you why this stuff happened and what the ramifications are and what other people won't tell you. Okay? So just to start us off, here is what Donald Trump tweeted out, and he said, Bernie Sanders is out. Thank you to Elizabeth Warren. If not for her, Bernie would have won almost every state on Super Tuesday. This ended just like the Democrats and the DNC wanted, same as the crooked Hillary fiasco. The Bernie people should come to the Republican Party. Trade. It's just amazing when a guy like Donald Trump can tell you a truth that MSNBC, CNN, nor the Bernie campaign or the Democratic Party will tell you. That's what happened. That's what happened. Why did Elizabeth Warren stay and everybody else dropped out? That's why. And so here we go. This is a great cartoon that says Democrats choosing Biden. They put the knife right through themselves and they miss Trump. So this is really what happened. Bernie's not going to tell you that. His campaign's not going to tell you that or whatever. And nope, no, the Democrats aren't going to tell you that. Rachel Maddow's not going to tell you that. Chris Hayes certainly isn't going to tell you that, who's now repeating lies about Syria and the gas attacks again. Chris Hayes, straight up propagandist, no matter what you think. They're not going to tell you this. The guy who's the biggest liar in D.C., they say, is though. Isn't that weird? It's two truly strange times. As Nancy Pelosi is trying to stop Medicare, he's pushing for it. It's truly strange times. And what this guy, David Wohl, says, which is kind of interesting, he says, the Democrats are now left with a candidate who often forgets the state he's in, the name of the president he served under, who his wife is and who his sister is, and even the name of the virus causing the pandemic. What a disaster for them. Do you know who that guy is? That guy's an advisor for Donald Trump. Or he's a, I don't know if he's an advisor, he's connected with him. But anyway, the point I'm showing you this is they're not going to pull punches on Joe Biden. Do you think that Donald Trump isn't going to tell you that Joe Biden is demented and everybody in his campaign is going to tell you this? Because they are. Is MSNBC going to be able to protect Joe Biden going forward? No. Joe Biden is going to lose to Trump. Why? Because Trump is once again out-lefting the Democrats, just like he out-lefted Hillary Clinton. He's out-lefting Joe Biden. He has now taken the first step towards Medicare for all. Trump has. Were the Democrats screaming for Medicare for all payments? No. Which makes it so much easier for Trump to out-left them. And I just want to show you, here's Joe Biden. And if you don't think he has dementia, here he is. Somebody put this together from 2018 to now. Just in 2 years, watch what happened. Just in 2 years, watch what happened.
We don't always live up to it, but we've never given up on them. Sounds corny, but we hold these truths self-evident. That all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator. We've never met it all, but we've never walked away from it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
That's just in 2 years. So I've told you what happened. I'll just briefly tell you what happened again. And here I'll go with Kyle Kulinski. Kyle Kulinski says, one of the most pervasive establishment myths about Bernie is that he doesn't play ball. Are you kidding? He didn't lay a glove on the media. He always said Biden is his friend and that he can beat Trump, and he campaigns for Dems after they cheat him. I wish Bernie gave zero fucks and took no prisoners. So here's what I say. The fundamental problem with Bernie and his campaign comes down to this. His actual goal of his adult life is to make sure he doesn't end up like Ralph Nader. That's the overarching concern. That's it. He told that, Chris Hedges said that 4 years ago, that's what Bernie's whole psychology is. And Chris Hedges predicted this campaign in 2020 would be a shadow of the 2016 campaign. He was right. He was right. He was right. Which is why he wouldn't run a campaign. So if your overarching goal of your adult life is to make sure you push for all the policies you want without ending up like Ralph Nader, meaning what that means is you're never going to use the power you have to threaten the establishment, which he never did. Which is why he wouldn't run a campaign that could actually win. He would not even critique Joe Biden's time at the White House or talk about his corruption, and he threw people under the bus that actually did. But he got his wish. He'll never be as hated as Ralph Nader. And the way he suspended his campaign, I say this about. To suspend your campaign while remaining on the ballot is possibly the worst of all choices. Either stay in or get out. Now he's half out, but half in still, so no one will be motivated to come out and vote for him, so he'll get slaughtered even harder going forward, and he'll look even weaker when he gets to the convention. And then, when they say Joe Biden has mental decline and we're going to replace him with Elizabeth Warren, Bernie doesn't have a case to make because they're going to say, look, you just got your ass handed to you in those half of the country's primaries because you weren't campaigning and you already told everybody you quit. And they go, so you're not even close. So we can't give the nomination to somebody who got less than 30% of them. We have to give it to someone else who's a struck, blah, blah, blah. Look how Elizabeth Warren's polling. And that's what they're going to, that's my guess. And maybe it won't be Elizabeth Warren. Maybe she'll just end up in the cabinet. But there's a play there. And so that's all of it. So that's why it happened. And this is the ultimate consequence. This is how, of course, that's how he's going to end the campaign too. Because when he's making decisions from day one, they were always out of fear. And whenever you make a decision out of fear, it's always the wrong decision. So their decisions weren't strong. They weren't aggressive. They were always reactionary. They're always like, well, what? They won't like it if we do that. They won't like it. We're going to offend Joe Biden's voters if we do it. And where do we go from here? Well, Bernie Sanders knew what we had to do 25 years ago. Here he is from, I'm not sure exactly. This is from the 90s. I think it might have been 95. Here's Bernie Sanders 25 years ago.
But in the beginning, this is what would happen. You had the Democratic candidate running for something, and the Republican candidate. Historically, Vermont had been a Republican state, moderate Republican, not right-wing, and then Democrats. And then we had a third party. And what would happen is debate after debate, television program after television program, the progressive third-party people would, in fact, get the best response from the audiences. And people would say, you guys make a lot of sense. And then you go up to them and say, you're going to vote for us? And they say, oh, of course we're not going to vote for you. You can't win. You're going to vote for the Democrat. You're a much better candidate. Everything you're saying is true, but we can't waste our vote. Waste our vote was the expression. So if there's any term that drives me crazy, is this quote-unquote waste our vote.
And that's what I've been told for the last 5 years or 4 years, that I wasted my vote when I voted my conscience. And when I tried to encourage everyone else to vote their conscience, and so we could actually have a third party that wasn't capable of winning, but capable of influencing the election, because if they polled at 5%, they would get matching funds, be on every ballot, and then they could be on the debate stage. And so that's how we could have influenced, instead of doing what we did once again, voted for Hillary and she lost, and now Joe Biden's going to lose. We could have did something. We did nothing. Nothing. Everybody told me I was wrong. But here's what Bernie says. Here's what he says. Watch this. This is what he knew 25 years ago, but somehow he forgot. Here we go.
Now, my own view, and it has been my view for many, many years, is that what we need in this country is what Jackson calls a rainbow coalition. But it has to be done outside of the Democratic Party.
Now, he knows that. Yet he did it inside the Democratic Party anyway. And why is that? That's because his overarching goal was to not be treated the way Ralph Nader got treated. In fact, he went so far as to not return Ralph Nader's phone calls ever again after 2000. They asked Ralph Nader, when you're running against, and you're going to be a spoiler, whatever they say, and aren't you afraid it's going to ruin your legacy? Ralph Nader, they said this to. Aren't you afraid it's going to ruin your legacy? And Ralph Nader says, my legacy? How are they going to ruin my legacy? Are they going to repeal seatbelts? That's what needs to happen. We need to organize outside the Democratic Party. At this point, it would have been better for Bernie to run inside the Republican Party because they're actually more open to his ideas. It was Nancy Pelosi who stopped direct cash payments. It's Trump who's proposing a limited Medicare for all. Not the Democrats, not Nancy Pelosi. And by the way, so this is a fact, right? So at best, you get 28% of the country that's Democrat. At best, you get 28% of the country that's Republican, which means there's an overwhelming majority of people who don't belong to any of the parties. In fact, if in politics as of today, do you consider yourself Republican, Democrat, or Independent? Trend since 2004. 30% Republicans, 36% Independents, 30% Democrats. Look at that. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?